Hey, what's up, traders? Welcome back. This is chapter 5 in the trader mindset. And this is thinking in probabilities. The first part of thinking in probabilities, which this is the mindset. It's the probabilistic mindset that we have to develop. And there's a lot of components to that. The first one and the major component was dealing with the destructive emotions. We talked about all of that. We went through that. If you're still stuck dealing with the emotions, then that's where you need to stay for a while. Okay, you can't gloss over it and blow past it thinking that eventually it's going to work out, because it doesn't work that way. All right, everything that we're going has to be addressed. Everybody is moving at their own pace. That's what one-on-one mentoring is for. That's why you get it as part of the program, because you will need it. Eventually, you may be stubborn now. You may be saying, hey, I don't need this, I don't need that. Eventually you will, and it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of intelligence. Okay, it's a sign of intelligence to use all of the programs and all of the tools that you have at your disposal. All right, so moving into, this thinking in probabilities, it's really, key that we accept this. That we accept not to look at things from trade to trade, but look at this thing, as an overall body of work. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so want to make this announcement. I'm going to be starting this. This is another program that I'm adding to the fold. And I'm thinking I'll be doing this on Wednesdays. But the fundamental stuff on Wednesdays. But the only way that you can learn how to read price action, the only way that you can master technical analysis, is through live trading. You can't read a book and master this stuff. You can't watch a video and master this stuff. The market is different every day. We know this. But you have to be able to you have to be able to read price action. You have to be able to understand technical analysis. And it's not knowing all of the patterns and all of this, because that makes no sense. You have to learn how to identify when these patterns are setting up. And you're not going to see the finished pattern while it's setting up. By the time you see the finished pattern, it's over. You're late. Trade's done. So you've got to learn this. It has to be learned every day. And you have the best opportunity to do it. I'm trading live. I'm talking about the price action. I'm talking about the things that I see, what you need to pay attention to, the technical analysis, the things that we have to pay attention to. All of that stuff you're getting on a daily basis. And then the fundamental or the foundational stuff I'll be covering, in the class. I think it's going to be on Wednesday at 11:30. But like reading each candlestick, understanding what each candlestick is telling us. Okay, how they come together to give us a story. how to identify micro and macro trends. And because some of you aren't going to be able to withstand trading a macro trend, which is a larger trend, the overall trend. Some of you can only manage trading the micro trend or the intraday trend. So these are the things that we're going to be, paying attention to in this. But I wanted to throw that out there. I haven't made the formal announcement yet, but I will. And again, it's part of the whole program, so there's no cost to it or anything else like that. All right, sounds good. So destructive emotions, this is what we talked about for the last two sessions. So just to kind of review, understand the powers of fear, greed, and hope. You got to understand the dangers and disadvantages, and we talked about those. Fear can hurt us, but if we use fear the right way, it'll keep us from getting in trouble. Greed. You've got to have some sense of greed in order to make money in the market. But if you don't manage it and use it the right way, it can cause your downfall. And understanding hope. I threw hope in there. It's one of these things where you have you've got to pay attention to it and know that self-discipline is the key. In day trading, your primal emotions must be caught, confined, yet masterly drawn upon. That's fear and greed, hope. These are primal emotions. Okay, lock them down, scrutinize them, and train them. That's what we've been talking about. Because basically, it's us against ourselves. It's us against ourselves. So making good money in day trading is all about defeating human nature. We have to defeat that first. And once we do that, the human nature that we were taught growing up, once we do that, then we can make some noise. All right, when we talked about hold ourselves accountable, nobody else is going to hold you accountable. Now, there's some of you that we meet and we go over your trades. Now, I do want to lay this out. If you're sending me your trades, you guys that are working towards the program, and you're sending me your trades and all of that, listen, I'm looking at it. I'm looking for growth. You're not going to get any comments or any response, because that's what the one-on-one mentoring sessions are for. I get too frustrated trying to type what I'm thinking, and a lot of times it's a lot more typing than what I want to do. So that's why you have these one-on-one mentoring sessions. So we can talk about your trades. We can talk about the things you thought about or that were bothering you during that trade. That's what the one-on-one mentoring sessions are for. So yeah, don't stop sending it to me. Don't stop letting me know that you're working. And if you want me to analyze it and respond to what I see, then we need to talk. We need to meet. And we need to talk about your trades as we're looking at them. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But that's where I'm seeing you guys hold yourself accountable is through your journal. If I see you getting in or getting out of trades too early and you're not addressing that issue, I know you're not holding yourself accountable. Maybe you're subconsciously blocking it out. That happens. That happens to me. Until one of you guys called me on it. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm subconsciously blocking this out. You're right. But it happens. But successful traders record all of their transactions so they can study their winners and losers. Now, of course, you've got these traders at the big banks and big hedge funds. They have people that analyze their trades for them. They don't have to do all of this stuff. But they're not trading with their money. So they could care less. They're making money based on their movements. So that's something that you got to kind of pay attention to. So, and then the main thing is you've got to identify, were your gains a product of your strategy or is it just dumb luck? Okay, you got to be honest with yourself. Did you lose just by following your plan? Or did they come from breaking rules? You got to be honest with yourself. Because this is important. Because there's no replacement for adhering to a good system of, and I want to qualify this, a good system of checks and balances over the long run. That's what we have to do. We have to check and balance ourselves. Okay, when you have a mentor that you work with regularly, you may, empower them to be your system of checks and balances. Or you may have a significant other that, understands this enough to be able to be your system of checks and balances. All right, so we're going to be moving on from emotions, but we will be talking about it. We'll talk about it again as we go through the first 90 days of trading. For those of you that are doing that, and we'll talk about it in the price action and technical analysis program. Because we have to have our emotions in check to be able to interpret the price action the right way. Because I know you guys probably have experienced it. I've experienced it where I can look at a chart long enough and make it tell me what I want it to tell me. And I won't realize it until after I'm either in the trade or the trade's over. So there is a strong mindset that you're going to have to go along with this. All right, so we're going to start thinking in probabilities. That's where we're starting today. All right, you guys know I'm a Mark Douglas disciple. This is where I learned the thinking in probabilities concept and realize how it connects with everything in our lives just about. So probability is everywhere, down to the very core of the earth. I mean, do you know or do you realize that when you walk out of the door every morning to go wherever you want to go or need to go, you're dealing with the probability that you may not come back home. Right? There is a probability, albeit very small, that we won't come back home. But do we think about it every day when we walk out? Do we think about when we walk out the door and get in our car or wherever that, hey, I might not come home today. There is a chance I might not make it home. If you do, it's paralyzing you. Okay, what you've done is accept the probability that there's a lot better chance than not of me coming home. Or when you get in your car, there is a probability of you having an accident. Albeit, as long as you follow the traffic laws and you observe, there is a good chance that you will not get in an accident. The probability of you making it to where you want to go safely is great. So we don't think about when we get in the car, am I going to get in an accident today? There is a chance I'm going to get in an accident, blah, blah, blah. No. We programmed ourselves. We've accepted the probability that if we do the things that we need to do, there's a better chance than not, a lot better chance than not, that we won't get in an accident. And we don't even think about it. Just imagine if we thought about it every day. Don't you think we would probably bring on an accident? Because all we're doing is focusing on it. Usually what happens. Alright, so the probabilistic machinery in our minds was evolved by us and humans in a time before computers, factories, traffic, and the stock market. It served us in a time when human life was all about survival. And it still serves us that well in that capacity, if we know how to use it correctly, if we understand it. But the world we live in today is different. Survival is not so much the issue like it was centuries ago. But we still want to be competitive, thrive, and most of all, win. Okay, back, 3, 4, 500 years ago, only the strongest survived. Only the strongest survived. And the probability of you not surviving a day was greater. But these guys didn't think about it. They just went out there and did it. Alright, and we want to have that same mindset. We want to make good decisions in complex and unpredictable situations, which is the stock market. And the problem is, not too many things in this world we're going to be able to connect to this. It's difficult. In the beginning, it's difficult accepting this when it revolves around money and finances. Okay, that's where we start to get cloudy here. So for this, we need to consciously add in a needed layer of probability awareness, and as it relates to our trading and as it relates to financial things. So what is probabilistic thinking? Basically, what you're trying to do is estimate with some type of logic or math or some type of assessment the likelihood of a specific outcome to come to pass. Like I was talking about earlier, when we walk out the house, there's probability that we won't be back, but there's a higher probability that we will. Okay? We know the logic behind it. Same thing with driving a car. We know the logic behind it. Alright? And because of that, we're able to freely move around and do the things that we need to do in our life. So it's one of the best tools we have to improve the accuracy of our decisions. In a trading world where each moment is determined by an infinitely complex set of factors, probabilistic thinking helps us identify the most likely outcomes. So this is going to be really critical when it comes to learning price action. And in the price action course, we will talk about thinking in probabilities more. Talking about these same concepts. Okay, because what you're doing is you're taking the price action, which is everything that we're using, the technical analysis, they're complex calculations that are plotted on a chart, and we have to learn how to interpret that. And it's simple, but because we're thinking of the calculations and how complex the calculations are, we sometimes make these things complex in our minds, and we can't do that. We cannot do that. So all right, hold on a second. This is ridiculous. Sorry, I just realized that. When we know this, our decisions can be more precise and effective. And that's what we're looking for in our trading. All right, so here's a question. How can casinos all around the world make profits every day and year after year by dealing with purely random outcomes? Casino games offer a random outcome. The casinos are playing the same game we're playing. So how are they able to make a living? And how are they able to not worry about when one player is winning more than another or winning more than the house? I'm not a real gambler, but when I go to the casino, I like to play blackjack. And I think, blackjack, I think, is outside of it's another game, but I think you have the better odds in blackjack. And usually when I play and I win several hands, I quit. It's just what I do, because I know I'm probably gonna start losing if I hit a good winning streak. So I'm using probabilities in that gambling thing. But what casinos do, well, I just wanted to put this point out too. There are some traders that believe the market is not random. And that, at certain times of the day, the stocks will move, but you have no idea how far they're going to move or what they're going to do when they move or anything like that. The market is not random in the fact that it will go up and down throughout the day. We know this. But the actual movement is random. And in order for us to get consistent results out of that randomness, we've got to understand that we can't focus on each individual, trade. Okay? But every moment in the market is unique. What it did yesterday, it's not going to do today. It may look like it, but it won't be the same. Or it may feel like it, but it won't be the same. It won't be identical. Each moment in the market is unique. You have to understand that. The market is always neutral. All right, there's no certainty, and every moment is unique in and of itself. If you recognize that, that's directly from Mark Douglas. As a trader, it's important to accept this reality. If we can't accept this reality, then we can't be a trader, right? How can we be a trader if we can't accept this reality? All right. Tesla is trying to test 195. All right, so here are the 5 fundamental truths, straight from the horse's mouth. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. You don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. There is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. An edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. Every moment in the market is unique. All right, think about you. Let's use our getting in the car driving. Bingo 195. Let's use our that example of driving. Okay, we have an edge because we have control of our car. We're controlling the direction, the speed, and everything of our car, right? We're controlling that. So we have an edge. We know that the probability of us getting in an accident is low because we have control over our car and everything else. What we don't have control over is the other person. Okay, we can look out for them. You know, we can pay attention and look out for the other guy, but we've got no control over what's happening to them. So we don't need to know whether they're going to follow the traffic laws or anything like. We don't need to know that. Okay? Because we know at some point somebody's going to do something stupid and run into somebody. It's just not likely it'll be you. But, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, but we know that there's a better chance of us getting to where we want to go safely. So we have an edge. We have that edge. All right? And every moment on the streets, unique. We may drive the same way every day, but we're going to run into different cars. We're going to run into different drivers. It's a unique moment. So the market is unique like that. So why do casinos make consistent money on an event that has a random outcome? Because they know that over a series of events, the odds are in their favor. They also know that to realize the benefits of the favorable odds, they have to participate in every event. So that means in our trading, if we're trading a setup, a strategy, if it's clean and it meets all of our criteria, we have to take it. We can't sit here and say, oh, well, everything is set up, but I just don't feel right. You shouldn't be trading to start with. Or you're like, oh, the last 2 or 3 trades were winners, I'm not going to take this one because I know I'm going to lose. Okay, if you don't have an edge, then that's what you do. But we have an edge. And let's go back to my blackjack example. I know that the casino has the edge in blackjack. So I know my winning is going to be limited because I don't have the edge. So I'm going to make my decisions based on the fact that I don't have the edge. We can't do that in trading. Because if we are trading, we should have the edge. And we should be executing on it. So we're going to have to take every trade. You know, we can't say, well, I've won 3 or 4 trades. Like I said, I won 3 or 4 hands, 5 hands in a row. I'm going to not trade because I'm determined to lose. No, you don't do that. You can have 20 winners in a row. You don't know. You just don't know. So you have to participate. All right. So I used to teach this live. It used to be a coin flip experiment. And what I did was I would get a group together. I usually get 4 people together. I had one person to flip the coin every time from the same position. Try to do it consistently. Flip it with the same velocity, same height. Try to do it as consistent as you could. So one person I told, you got heads every time. You're gonna pick heads every time. One person I said you're gonna pick tails every time. One person is gonna pick random. So we did 100 flips. All right, so you risk $10 for a reward of 20. So I just did it 2 to 1. You know, since everybody's stuck on 2 to 1. And so here's what happened. The first flip, first 100, the person that got heads 70 times right, tails 30, random, they got lucky. The random guy, what the random person is doing what? Can anybody tell me what the random person is doing here? What's he trying to do? Kind of like the same thing traders are trying to do. Can anybody think of that? I'll give you a minute. If you're still awake. Hopefully I haven't put you to sleep yet. But this ought to be exciting. Anybody. 30 seconds. Yep, they're trying to beat the odds. But how are they trying to beat the odds? Not so much control the outcome, but what are they specifically doing? What are they trying to do? How are they trying to beat the odds? You know, how are they trying to get luck on their side? And how are they trying not to lose? This random person, he's looking for patterns, right? Don't we try to look for patterns in trading? This dude is trying to look for patterns. He's not worrying about consistency. He's worrying about looking for patterns. So everything that you guys said, like beat the odds, control the outcome, you know, trying not to lose, trying to get luck on his side. He's trying to identify patterns from the coin flip as his, edge. Okay, here's the second time. The random guy, he got burned. All right, he didn't do anything. He got burned. The person that picked heads, he's got the edge because the coin is weighted to land on heads. He's got the edge. Let's look at the third one and the fourth one. Look, every time, the random guy here is still red. He still beat the tails. But look at the consistency of the person that has the edge. They're not worrying about each flip. They're not trying to guess which flip is not going to be heads, because after 7 or 8 flips, it's not going to be on heads. So they're not trying to guess that. And look at what they made. Now, this one, I think, was a fluke. I think the flipper was getting tired. But still, even though he had a bad week, and I count this to weeks, even though he had a bad week, he still came out on top. The random guy, man, he had a good week. But is he going to do this every time? Is he going to have a good week every time? I doubt it. I doubt if he's going to have a good week every time. So, here's the final tally over 5 weeks. Look at the guy that has the edge. Look at the guy that doesn't have the edge. He's consistently trading a strategy that he does not have an edge. These are the results he gets. And the random guy, he's kind of breaking even, don't you think? This is pure luck. He's trying to find patterns, and that's just based on pure luck. A 50-50 chance that it's going to flip his way. So where would you want to be? Where do you want to position yourself in trading? Should be right here, right? So in here, we can do the equity curve. Look at the heads equity curve. Look at it. Here's the tails guy. And then the random, he's all over the place. If he didn't have that good week, he would probably, just have only made a couple $100. He was lucky, right? So, if it didn't make sense to you before, is this starting to make sense to you? If you are trading and doing the right things, and remember, when you're documenting your wins and losses, and you're testing your strategy to see if you have an edge, if you win and you made a mistake, if you lose and you made a mistake, those get thrown out. The only trades you're going to register are the ones that you did execute it perfectly on. And this is going to tell you whether your strategy is not working. This is going to tell you whether you have an edge or not. But if you're random and you're all over the place and you're changing up and you have no freaking clue, what to do or what you need to fix in order to get to where you want to be. All right, you see what I'm saying? All right. So what did we learn? We learned that you can produce consistent, profitable results from a completely random event like a coin flip, 50-50. But if you have an edge, which is the coin gave you the edge because it waited to land on heads every time. It taught you that you should not focus on each individual flip, but a group of flips over time to realize the full benefits of your edge, or to determine if you do not have an edge. Okay, grasping these concepts will take most of the frustration out of your trading. This is why I like to teach this early in a trader's career. The very first concept you really need to understand is probabilities. In addition, because probabilities will help you with taking a loss. So, thinking in probabilities, it is the ability to believe in the unpredictability of the game at the micro level. That's on the small level. And simultaneously believe in the predictability of the game at the macro level. So when we're talking about micro level, we're talking about individual trades. The macro, we're talking about the group of trades, like the 100 flips. And that's what makes the casino and the professional gambler effective and successful in what they do. Now, the professional gambler is probably not going to beat the casino every time. The professional gambler is the one who's able to consistently win when gambling against others. You know, you have a table where you're playing poker, you're not playing against the house, you're playing against the other players there. That's when a professional gambler is going to have their odds. All right, so the importance of thinking in probabilities. Practically all trading errors occur when a trader assumes, thinks, or believes that he or she knows more than the market. I'm raising my hand. I'm giving you context. I am raising my hand. Sometimes I think, assume, or believe that I know what the market's going to do, even though it's telling me something else. I'm like, I don't want to listen to it. I think it's fooling me. I want to be right. It happens. Okay, when I identify it, is when I correct it. And that's one of the skills that everybody has to learn, is how to identify these things. And then you have something in place to correct it. Okay, a trader who lives in the probability lives in the now. He accepts reality for what is and places his trades accordingly. You have fully accepted that unknown forces are driving the market. So instead of worrying about being right, you just take the trades that set up for your edge, and you look to profit off of that. That's all we do. I mean, that's all we need to do, right? If a large enough number of good trades are taken, a pattern will develop that will produce consistent results. All right, make sense? So I'm going to leave you. This is the 5 fundamental truths. We've already addressed these. We've already talked about them. I'm reintroducing this because if you don't print anything and stick it to your monitor, this is something that you want to do because you want to remind yourself of this until you have truly and honestly accepted the fact and accepted these truths. So when you really believe that trading is simply a probability game, concepts like right or wrong, win or lose, never have the same significance. So I'm not worrying about losing money. I'm not worried about being right, but it will creep in. Okay, I've got you guys watching me. I got people that look for me to do recaps so they can see, what's going on. Do I want to be wrong? Do I want to look like I don't know what the hell I'm doing? No. So that added a new layer to me. When I first started this, that's something that I had to work through because I added a new layer. It's like I don't want people to think that I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not winning. But in reality, they need to know that it's not me, it's the market conditions we're trading in. We just have to be consistent and keep moving. So, successful thinking in shades of probability means roughly identifying what matters, coming up with the sense of the odds, doing a check on our assumptions, and then making decisions. We can act with a higher level of certainty in complex, unpredictable situations. We can never know the future with exact precision. Probabilistic thinking is an extremely useful tool to evaluate how the market will most likely look so that we can effectively strategize. All right, makes sense? You guys with me on this? All right, so this is very, very important. Now I have this up in a couple hours. The video up. I'll send you the PDF. Now this one I didn't have any new stuff in this presentation from last time, but I don't think I said the same thing I said the last time, so the video would definitely be different. But I'm going to stop it here and start getting it ready.